Hi folks, this video is going to cover the photo expectations or what you will need for your portfolio. You need to know what kind of photos you need to have. We've covered some of this will be review. I'll test your recall just a little bit. But you do need some in-progress shots typically. If you do forget, it's not a trauma, but it may ding you just a little bit in your portfolio. Generally speaking, you should have at least 1 to 2 pre-glazed photos. These could be bisque, they could be bone dry, but before you start applying your glaze. That way you can include any details or embellishments in case something goes wrong when you glaze. It's going to take care of that, it's going to document it. Because sometimes things go wrong, especially as you're experimenting with glazes. Sometimes you find out that some glazes just don't show the designs like you had hoped. Also, sometimes things go wrong in the kiln. It's rare, but once in a while something will explode. It may not even be yours, but yours could be damaged, or somebody could pick it up. So again, you do want to have some in-progress photos. Generally speaking, at least 1 to 2, sometimes more if you've got lots of stuff going on or lots of requirements covered. Once it's glaze fired, generally you'll have 2 to 3 photos. Now it kind of depends on the pots that you have. If they're very simple, maybe just 1 to 2 would take care of it. But if you've got a handle or incised designs, or you've footed it, trimmed it on the bottom, you may need some other ones. So it kind of depends on the piece that you've got, but you do want to make sure that a lot of times you have different angles. If it's pretty much the same all the way around, different angles probably don't make that much difference, but some things you do, and I'll show you some examples of those. And again, include details, any requirements that you've covered on that. Make sure that you've got that documented. Don't rely on my recall or yours, because we all know that we all forget things, so make sure that you have things documented. You may need to use lighting. If it helps you, sometimes the lights are good enough in here, sometimes we have them dimmed a little bit, so you need to kind of consider how that lighting is going to be affecting your pieces. So I've got a little video with some examples of how that can influence how your pots look. So there is that light clipped to the top at the photo booth. You can see just on and off how much it changes. Sometimes the camera adjusts, sometimes it doesn't, but it's going to change the shadows, it's going to show up some different things. Sometimes it even changes the color a little bit. So try the light, see how you like it, see if you think it makes any difference. And ignore the fact that that's tilted just a little bit. But a lot of times the light will help you show off your details. If used poorly though, it can actually be distracting. You don't want a lot of reflections. Oops. When you are taking your pictures, make sure you frame your shots well. If you've got lots of detail, you may want to zoom in and get an up-close section of that. If your camera is set on auto like it should be, it will automatically change to macro, and when you depress the shutter button a little bit, it'll focus in on those details. Now notice this picture is a little bit blurry. Make sure again that you're using the shutter button and depressing it part way to get that to focus first. This piece, you got lots of negative space. And while you can crop in and enlarge things post-production, so to speak, you want to get in closer than that because you may not be getting as much detail as you thought. So make sure that, again, you really think about it as you're taking those pictures. Here are some example photos of glazed pieces that really work fairly well. And notice I've got multiple angles of this. One from the top to show me how the lid is going to really work with that visually. One from the side to show the profile. And then one with the lid off so I can kind of see the pot on its own as well. I could also have shown pictures of the foot. I could have picked it up. Make sure if you've got a lidded pot that as you're handling that, you either set the lid off or you really make sure that you've got a hold of the lid and the body of the pot so that you don't accidentally end up with a non-lidded piece. So always use lots of caution. All right, and I think that's it for this one.